Most people that I have conversations with about this, I find that we all have a level of shame when it comes to race. Our ancestors perpetrated horrible atrocities on others, or our ancestors were those others. We carry shame with it, and the silence surrounding that can only do harm to our communities. I mean, it all revolves around conversations. That's the most important step, is just to start. South Carolina Collaborative for Race and Reconciliation was seen as a way for the university to enter into the conversation concerning race relations, to foster civic dialogue and make stronger communities. I say our goal is threefold: education, facilitation, and transformation. We work in classrooms, boardrooms, communities, organizations, because we rely on stories and storytelling. Real changes begin to happen in people's minds. I could show you all kinds of numbers and all kinds of graphs and say, there's all these inequities, and look at America and it's poor and it's rich and all of this. But none of that is going to matter to you, really, until I say that happened to me.
At first, I was a little kind of skeptical. I thought it would be, I'll go to a lot of fluffy things. So I was kind of like, I'll attend, but I didn't have like a lot of expectations. In my early organizing days, I was in a more adversarial police kind of relationship. Going through the breakouts and the exercises, especially me being a former school teacher, I started looking at them like public servants, which I feel like teachers are. Just kind of connected more at a human level. It wasn't like I'm a community organizer and you're a cop. We just kind of broke bread on where we were coming from.
For years, law enforcement talked at people, not to people. And I think the fact that we have tough conversations and some hard swallows, if you will, that lets us know that we're starting to get to the root. And I think that's where the success is going to come from. And I think having communal partners helping with that conversation, it brings it to a place of trust.
Every time I give a presentation, moderate a panel, host a conference, as soon as you open the floodgate, as soon as you give people permission, we all have these experiences, and there's a level of healing that needs to happen for all of us.
The South Carolina Human Affairs Commission will go into a business or entity when we have a complaint of discrimination from a person who believes they've been discriminated against in employment or housing or public accommodations. We've worked with the South Carolina Collaborative for Race and Reconciliation on a number of race panel discussions. What we found is through these panel discussions, people are energized. They become more enlightened to what's happening in the world. And they begin telling stories, and there's tears flowing. There's a lot of, you heard my story, and I've heard your story. Man, that sounds similar. So we're getting people to talk who've never talked before.
The point is, we all experience race whether we recognize it or not. We just need to normalize these conversations. And through normalizing the conversations, we may alleviate some of these issues.
One of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King said was people fail to get along because they fear each other, and they fear each other because basically they don't talk to each other. And we're just trying to get people to talk to each other.
More people who are finding out that this is a resource are contacting us. Although I am hesitant to call it training, because you can't train compassion or empathy, because it's a process. But what I've seen in some of the research is that somewhere around 90% of Americans polled want this to be an equitable society. And I think a lot of the issue is that they just don't know how to go about it. I don't either, but I'm willing to try, because overall, we are good people at heart. And I firmly believe that the best in us can heal what is the worst in us.